1080.
All right, there we go. What it do, little baby? We back again. The Grounded Show. Your boy Les and your boy Joe Fernese back again.
What it do? What it do?
How was the week, man? I know you
It's
was
good,
handling some
man.
business.
Yeah, I lived at a hotel for a week. It wasn't fun, but it got done. Wifey got to join me for a few days. Got some per diem dinner, so took advantage of it for sure.
Hey, nice, nice. Um, how, how do you when you come back from a trip? Like, I know it wasn't necessarily like a vacation, but like when you come back from a trip, what's kind of like the vibe that you feel? Like, do you feel like refreshed? Do you feel like you gotta kind of like get back in the rhythm? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how do you come back from those kind of trips?
No matter, and it wasn't like a trip that took a lot of energy out of me. We didn't do a lot, but that's why coming from a trip, like I can go on a trip where it's relaxing, and I can go on a trip where I'm busy 24 hours out of the day, and I still come home. Like I haven't been home in 7 days, and that's just tiring for me because now I'm out of my routine, I'm out of my comfort zone, I'm out of what I'm used to every single day. So that kind of just drains me being away from home, no matter how the trip went turned out.
Yeah, I feel that. Definitely feel that. I'm definitely a home based guy. Like I operate best when I'm operating from home for sure. And sometimes I don't even feel like it's necessarily like the comfort of home for me. I just like having access to anything that I'll need. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like I like having my car. I got my tools.
yeah,
I just like being able to solve something if I can. Like when I'm away from my house, I kind of feel like I have to rely more on people and stuff like that,
hmm,
and I feel more like helpless than I do when I'm at home.
same, exactly. See, I had to go down to the lobby to buy water whenever I drank all mine. It got ice from the vending machine, like simple things like that you take for
Yeah,
granted.
facts. Yo, so before we got on, I was pulling up some news here. And I'm seeing that Nelly, Eve, and Ja Rule are gonna kind of like headline this tour called "Where the Party At," and it's a world tour for 2025, where they're basically, they're just doing that nostalgia tour.
Yep.
Some of the guests are gonna be the Saint Lunatics, Jermaine Dupri, Chingy, JD, Ja Rule, Fabulous is gonna be there. So you gotta what's it called? A mix and match of those
Yeah.
people depending on which date you go to. I'm pretty sure they'll probably have a couple surprises here and there. But it kind of got me thinking like, is there artists nowadays not are there artists? So let me start that over. Will you be able to do so much touring 20 years from now with the music that's being made now? And the reason I say that is like something that came to mind to me that's kind of come back up with this whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing is him breaking the record for most number ones, like beating Michael Jackson with Tootsie Slide. And people kind of talking about like, are you gonna be listening to Tootsie Slide, 20 years from now or whatever?
Hmm.
And it just kind of got me thinking in general, because obviously a lot of Drake's discography is gonna hold over time. Like a lot of his early stuff already has been holding. It's been more than 10 years. But for other artists that are dropping like, the TikTok kind of sounds where it's not necessarily like you're trying to go for a specific audience or whatever. It's just let me try to make something that's clippable that's gonna catch on. Where a lot of people don't really even hear the songs all the way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They just know that little sequence that they hear on social media.
that's me.
Like, do you think they'll be able to do these kinds of big tours and draw crowds like for the type of music that we're getting nowadays?
I really don't, and I think it shows now. It shows now because you don't really see those people in shows and like big time headlining shows or even like festivals or concerts. And I think that played a major part of why this Where the Party At tour started because I went to the very first Lovers and Friends festival in Vegas, and it was all these people, and it was such a huge turnout. And it was the first one sucked. I'm not gonna lie. Just I don't think they were prepared for it. It was their first one. But every year I noticed it got better. It got sold out more. They added more days. They added bigger artists, and it's because they realize these artists have music that have lasted forever. And now that music's not like that anymore, they're becoming popular again, and people are going back to the old school stuff now. And that's why it's the reason, because this popcorn microwave music that is solely made for TikTok dances and trends, um, is the way it is. It's giving them a reason to come back. It's giving people to want to hear old shit again because they don't want to hear this. So if it's not lasting now, it's not going to last in 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody that comes to mind is that Tommy Richmond guy, the one that did the $1 Million Baby joint.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discussion around him because he didn't want to be associated with that song so much that he didn't even put it on his album when he dropped it. He was kind of like trying to prove that he wasn't a TikTok artist,
Hmm.
and it kind of backfired on him. It's like numbers wise, just fan reception and stuff like that. And I feel like he made a type of music that was thoughtful, and you can tell that it wasn't like some BS that they were putting together.
Hmm.
But maybe the approach, or maybe the perceived approach of this is just a TikTok song, kind of ruined him in the eyes of people, or even ruined him for himself. Because, like I said, it was kind of like a thing where there's a lot of little stories where he kind of is like shooting himself in the foot
Yeah.
just because he's lashing out against like what people are saying about him and how he came up and everything.
Yeah. But there's a difference. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if he's trying to navigate away from making himself considered a one hit wonder. Um, Back then, one hit wonders is because people would put one song that everybody loved, and you couldn't go on Apple Music or Spotify and listen to their full album and hear more hits. You had to go out and buy their album. And a bunch of these kids were buying albums of people they just like one song from. But when you go back now and you hear these artists' full albums, you're like, wow, the albums had a good songs on it. All they were not, they had one hit wonders as far as what became popular, but they had a bunch of hits. And I think today these people are actually one hit wonders. You hear some albums and you're like, okay, I only want to hear the one song that is popular. All the other songs are just straight trash.
Yeah, the attention to detail ain't there, just like with a lot of things nowadays. And it's just, I've been saying that I feel like there's a shift coming in music. A lot of people kind of getting tired of the way music has been funneled to the fans, the way it's been devalued, the type of music that's coming out, and the lack of detail in the music. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
people hear songs and they can tell that a lot of thought or money wasn't put into it. So in on the other side of it, it's not gonna last, like you were saying earlier. You can't fault. I always look at music like this. Like, I never take it personal when people don't like my music, because I always look at it like, bro, music's supposed to be a pleasure. You don't pick what music you like. It just hits you and that's it.
Yeah, it's for you or it's not.
And if people ain't resonating with your sound, it's something you doing, because like it's a thing where you can't deny it. And on top of that, it's like a thing where when people hear it and they hear the uniqueness and they hear that the love and time that you put into it, that's what resonates with people. And
Yeah.
if you're not doing that, it's like you can't fake it.
Yeah, that's why artists and even producers who do it for so long and it finally starts clicking, and they finally start reaching out more ears, more artists want to get involved, is because they've been working on it for so long, and now you can listen to it and tell, oh, you've been doing this for a while. It's like, how come I never heard anything back then? It's like, it never was at the level it is now because of the amount of work they put in. And now you hear it and you're like, okay, now I hear
Facts.
the work that you've been doing.
Yep. There's a lot of artists, especially back in the day, that they got it, but they just don't have that resource. They don't have those keys. They don't have those collaborators to really like put something out that's undeniable, like super, super, super classic. And then once they get connected, one of them that come to mind, 50 Cent and Dr. Dre, Snoop and Dre, there's just a lot of different people that once they connect with those right people to kind of help them
Yeah.
get their sound out, it's a different thing, and
Mhm.
I feel like that's a big thing that's missing in music. Like, everybody's expected to kind of come as a complete thing right off the bat and just come ready made with hits and an image and everything. And it's like, nah, man, this is like a work thing. Like this is like anything else. You got to work on it to make it better and to get it to the peak. Just like any other job, any other thing, sports, business, anything. Like unless you work it and work out the kinks and see what's wrong, what's good, what's not, like it's not gonna get there. And I feel like that is what needs to come back, and hopefully it will come back.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like that's why Dre and Snoop are making such a resurgence now. Again, not just with brand marketing, with the drinks, but they're also working on an album.
Yep.
And there's a clip that came out, and people are so shocked, like, damn, it's still this good. Like Dr. Dre never stopped making beats.
Yep.
He stopped making beats for himself and for like specific artists, but he never stopped working in the studio. And Snoop never stopped rapping. Snoop has been rapping. He rapped for a long time. He's still everything he does. He talks in rap still to this day. So why would they not still be as good as they've been back then? Why would they not come out with something super fire if they really cared, if they really tried, if they wanted to do it for themselves? They just need a reason to, and that's why they're I feel like this album they're coming out with is going to be fire.
Yeah, when you know how to just sonically get the people moving and what's a good groove, what's a good bounce, the approach that people like Dre and Snoop have, just being seasoned songwriters and artists and just understanding what people want from music. Like you said, I think it's gonna be dope, and it's gonna be dope to hear how they approached it, especially like as like quote unquote like senior rap or however you want to
Hmm.
call it, kind of what Nas has been doing lately, and just in general, the idea of like being older rappers, because this is like uncharted territory where an older rapper is still dropping something that's anticipated or actually dope.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why and there's different levels of people who can do that. Like Nas sold out MSG, and to do that off rap lyrics and rap songs, and not just melodies and R&B stuff. And that's
Crazy.
why I kind of took it in the reception when the locks came, and it was such a small venue, but everybody in that venue knew every lyric to their song. But they didn't reach a level of where the masses knew every single one of their songs, and today they can go and sell out. Not taking away from anything, but there's different levels of the way the music was made that reaches massive audiences, and they have a long longevity, and they can have a huge ass comeback and a resurgence in a major show in the way that certain artists are doing today.
Facts. Yeah, man. Like I said, I feel like there's hope for music, and just seeing what's coming with the Dre and Snoop album and just all these shakeups that have just been happening in the industry in general. It's definitely good stuff to look forward to. There's already, that tour we were talking about earlier. Dre and Snoop's on the way. I feel like it's gonna be a good year for music.
Kendrick album part twos this week.
Yeah, man, that's a little Easter egg type thing that
Hmm.
people are saying, man, that we're gonna get either a deluxe or like a whole second set of songs
Yeah,
from the Kendrick album.
yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Everything is that they're whole reincarnated. Like there's an old Kendrick, a new Kendrick. In the video, he like reflected multiple, like two sides of a lot. I think that those album references he had on there with E40 and the two other album references he had where they were all double albums. Like there's so many references to two sides of something. And then he put out there's like a festival or something on December 13th, and he's like that. He said something about like that's gonna be the day, and everybody that's like, and that's a Friday, and it's Friday the 13th, and it's just like,
Mm,
bro, he drops an album Friday,
that'll be crazy.
it's gonna be nuts. I'm not listening to nothing but Kendrick
Bro, I still
for
been rocking that
2025.
album, bro. That
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
album was
wow,
fire.
bro. That you as I've like gotten away from it and really just, listened to it and really like I feel like the theme of it is almost like when you just know you're in that zone. Like that's just how it sounds to me. You know what I mean? Like you you've been making great music, you win a big battle, and that's the vibe that I feel on the album. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like a guy that feels like he's unfuckwittable right now.
Yeah.
You know, like even just the choices on the album itself kind of gave that vibe. You know what I mean? And like you, man, I hope you're right, and what everybody's been saying too about this part two slash maybe deluxe. But I'll definitely like to enjoy some more music
Yeah, perfect time for the
from that
holidays.
era of him.
This is the weather where I'd like listening to Kendrick Lamar music with the windows down, a cool air breezing, and it's just like driving, like oof, it's perfect Kendrick Lamar weather right now for this music.
Facts. But yeah, man, we gonna make a hard U turn right now, dog,
Oof.
because as it's been reported, they got the boy. Depending on who you ask, my bad. Let me restart that because I just dropped my phone on the mic stand. But yeah, depending on who you ask, they got the boy Luigi Mangione,
Here's your
which
Mangione.
which by now most people know, but we'll catch you up. There was a killing in New York. I forgot the man's last name. I'm sorry. I know his name was Brian from United Health. What was the guy's last name? Do you remember by any chance?
Uh,
Brian Thompson. There it goes.
Thompson.
United Healthcare CEO was killed pretty much broad daylight in New York. Everybody, yo, the whole situation is not funny at all. Let me preface it with that. But it is kind of funny that when the footage came out and when the whole situation was happening where he was still at large, everybody was basically like analyzing the footage and saying this dude was Jason Bourne. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
They
I
was
saw the
talk
same thing. There's like the way
there
he's
was
holding the gun, the
there
way
was
he's
so much
executed it.
analyticals that went into it, dissection of the video. So many people like, bro, you're never gonna catch this guy. He's in the third island of Wahihi right now. You ain't
Mm.
never gonna see him again. Bruh, it was a data engineer from Pennsylvania, dog. Like, who
Yeah.
would have thunk it? Like, a young dude, uh, from everything,
26 years old.
26 years old, from everything that's kind of come out, looks like he was like a well-to-do guy with a bright future ahead of him. Um, there's kind of little reports coming out that he sustained some sort of back injury in the summer of 2023,
Hmm.
and they're kind of piecing together that maybe his experience with that back injury is kind of what led him down this path.
And 26 is the age where you can no longer use your parents' health insurance policy.
Ooh, man, I didn't even think about that, bro. That yeah, like if you're in school, right, or something like that, you
Yeah.
can stay until 26 or something like that.
Yep. And then you cut.
Wow, bro. Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that, but that's super true. He's probably dealing with healthcare on his own for the first time, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, bro, a lot of wild speculation is going on. Buddy was caught in Altoona, Pennsylvania, just chilling at McDonald's. Supposedly, he had a YouTube page that the icon on the
Tomorrow.
YouTube page was him holding a Happy Meal.
Hmm.
So, like, people are even speculating. And I don't even know if the YouTube page thing was real
Yeah, it's
because,
real, and it says there's a video going to be released tomorrow.
well, I heard supposedly they pulled the video down. I mean, they pulled the
Ah,
channel down,
damn.
which makes sense that they would do
Mm.
that. But man, supposedly he had like videos set up. His icon was a picture of him with a Happy Meal. So people are saying he like was trying to
Planned
get
it.
caught on
Yeah.
purpose. He got some kind of plan or something.
Hmm.
It's a crazy story from a lot of different angles. There's a lot of threads to pull.
Hmm.
One of the things that I've kind of found interesting is the Robin Hood effect it's had on people. People have, I feel like, have been taking a lot of L's lately, just in general, just with how things have been going around the world. It's pretty much a historical fact that whenever there's war going on around the world, it's usually a downtime in the economy and just with people in general as far as spending goes. People get a little bit more tight with their pockets just because they're uncertain about the future. So it's definitely one of those times where
Yeah.
people are feeling life in a harder way than usual. So it makes sense that they would latch on to a perceived person getting their comeuppance as far
Hmm.
as the CEO goes.
Yep.
There's a lot of people on the other side of that feel like, hey, that's, celebrating anybody getting killed or feeling like that's justified in any way is super wrong. I kind of fall on not really either side, but the side I fall on honestly is like I look at dudes like that, kind of like drug dealers, politicians, just from the point of view of you're in a position of power where a lot of people are going to be coming at your neck. The decisions you make is directly hurting somebody else all the time. So it's kind of par for the course.
Yeah.
I feel like it didn't shock me. I'm not saying it was justified, but at the same time, who am I to say it's not justified, bro? This is a dude making $15 million a year as the CEO of a healthcare company, taking away benefits from people, you know, basically deciding who lives and dies over, small dollar amounts when you're getting an increase from not making millions to 15 million. And there's a lot of sides to this. Like I said, man, I definitely don't feel like anybody should be murdered in cold blood for anything like that. But it's definitely hard to feel sympathy when you kind of start getting the details about the stuff going on and the decisions they were a part of and the things that they've done. It's like I said, bro, you look at politicians, drug dealers, there's certain people that you're in a line of work where you know you're gonna have to do some grimy things, and you just gotta know you got that kind of karma jumping around with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I don't want if you want to get into tinfoil stuff about it. Um, but it's also like, all right, he was a data scientist. He had a really brilliant background. He had a really brilliant future. Like I get there's a manifesto, but why would he really want to do that? Why would he really want to shoot a billionaire in broad daylight and plan this whole thing to send a message about healthcare? Um, there's so many sides to it, just and the fact that it's like they call it, I forgot what they call it, the fall guy theory. Like he's really not the one who did it.
Yeah.
So he had all the evidence to prove he did it. He's saying he has a manifesto. He's not manifesto says he's not working everybody. He's trying to just end it right there, like saying it was me. But there's no ballistics report about the gun and the bullets and like gunpowder residue, or well, he was wearing gloves, but still, like the evidence is all the self-proclaimed admittance that he had,
And
but
I know
it's
that the
not
lawyer
really.
is basically saying they're trying to block the extradition from Pennsylvania to New
Yeah.
York, basically saying y'all got to link what y'all found. Like you could charge him for what you found on him,
Mhm.
but for y'all to try to tie him to this, y'all got to be able to link it without a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah.
which I believe is what they're trying to do now, and which will be the next update in the story. Like if they were able to link any of the stuff in New York to him.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you said, and it's kind of like everybody kind of felt like, bro, you're gonna do something like that and then get away, and then you're just gonna be chilling at McDonald's, bro. Like you're just gonna go back to where
Yeah.
you from, like, and just vibe. Like it's too convenient, you know?
Yeah. I think it's I think there's way, way, way more to it than just this 26-year-old kid and a manifesto to corporate corruption, healthcare industry. I think there is just there's some things that's just too simple. Oh, what's that? What's that word? When it's just too simple. I forgot what that saying is. Um, but yeah, I truly think there's a lot more behind it because of the way it's progressing, and I'm gonna keep looking into this. And that's another one thing I do feel like that could have led to it is he's a data scientist. He's a smart dude. He might have been digging through information on the internet and really come up with this huge theory in his head that he really believed he had to set out and accomplish. So it could be that simple.
Yeah, it's definitely a head scratcher to say the least. You look at the details, you even see how people around him are coming out and saying things. Obviously, nobody's gonna be like, especially if you're cool with him, you're not gonna be like, yeah, this dude kind of seemed like a murderer to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Occam's razor. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Occam's razor. It's just that the simplest explanation is usually the best one to use, and this one's like so simple, right?
yeah.
But I don't think it's that simple.
It's definitely regardless of the theories on the situation itself, when you just peel it back and look at it as a whole,
Yeah.
like we're getting to a place where people are so disheartened with the current situation that they're celebrating, normal people getting murdered. You know what I'm saying? And that's definitely a scary, I feel like a scary thing and a scary like precedence to set. You know what I mean? And that's kind of something that they've been talking about too, where like that's been a concern with like politicians and companies and stuff right now, where people are going to be basically emboldened to say, oh, we can kill these CEOs and these billionaires and millionaires because they're corrupt or whatever. So we're not going to be looked frowned upon if we do something like that because everybody's in agreement that these guys are greedy and they deserve what they got going. And it's definitely a scary thing to think about, especially when you're somebody that's trying to govern people and you're the person that you're basically the description of the person that they're celebrating that got gunned down in the middle of the street,
Yeah.
So
And the support he has from people, and they're saying like New York and everybody, like they're calling him like Batman, and they want to protect him, and they're like upset that he got caught. That's pretty.
yeah, they were saying that there's clothing lines that have been like coming out with pieces that are like basically like replicas of his fit or like inspired by the fit that he was wearing, coming out with T-shirts and stuff like that. Social media accounts,
A Spotify playlist.
Spotify playlist. Burger King dropped something like basically like they would have never snitched type thing,
Yeah.
which is crazy, dog. Like it's just like I said, there's a lot of layers to it. But when you think about it, even think about people that have seen like Game of Thrones and shows like that, bro. Like just think about them scenes in them shows where they're in the town square, the town people are mad as hell. Maybe they get a hold of one of the king's guards or something and kill him or beat him up in the street, and everybody's cheering and happy. Like this is the modern version of that, dog. Like, when
Yeah.
when people start celebrating these things and feel like these are the consequences that people in those positions need to feel, it's definitely a situation where anxieties and what is that called? Attentions are high.
Hmm.
Tensions are high for sure. And seeing this unfold, like the court case, the details, all that, everything that's gonna come from this
Yeah.
is definitely gonna be something super interesting in a moment in time for sure.
You know what else it's done as well? It's put a muzzle for me on the outcome of the election.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
quiet. It's been quiet for that.
Yeah, it's been definitely a switch in the situation. I mean, the news cycle has just been crazy lately in general, just coming from that P. Diddy stuff that's still coming out. Now Jay-Z getting accused of sexual assault, the killing of the CEO, the war,
Yeah.
Assad, Russia, Ukraine, the reopening of Notre Dame. Like, bro, there's just so many things going on that, like you said, bro, like no, ain't nobody really talking about the election. I mean, I seen interview that Donald Trump did on CNBC where he was talking about a multitude of topics, and they were dropping those clips everywhere, and I feel like everybody just kind of saw them and like they already accepted it. You know what I mean? And it's a funny thing too because he won so overwhelmingly, and even that has been kind of like a tinfoil thing with people, and they're talking about the disparity of voters and the amounts of people in each election. Like, bro, you are trying to come up with a theory just based off the fact of what decision a grown adult makes on a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's simply what it is. Like the there's what 350 million Americans in the United States, and they're talking about differences of like 5 to 15 million votes. From the last like 3 or 4 elections. Like, bro, some people they don't get motivated to vote based off of who's in front of them, and I guarantee you this is one of them elections, bro.
Yeah.
People seen their options, people seen the stuff that's been going on with the White House now, the stuff that happened in the White House before, and they're like, dang, literally more of either one of the same, and it just some people just get disinterested. Whatever the case is, it's not a it's not as I just feel like it's not as deep as people try to make it. Like they were trying to say like there was some kind of like crazy hack this year, and regardless of how you feel about either side, like you're not just gonna say that they gave 15 million fake hacked votes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's just, man, it's just gotten to a ridiculous point, and it even just ties in to the thing with the CEO being shot. Like things are getting so ridiculous that the response is starting to become equally ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like the way that things have been going with the healthcare industry, inflated to the point where this guy was making $15 million a year while they were cutting coverages for people, and it gets to the point where somebody is making that extreme answer to their problem. But it's like, dog, it's something that's gone unchecked. Like the bubble bursts, and you can't really control how it bursts or where it bursts. You know what I'm saying? Like something happens, and if you don't address it before, and it kind of goes back to the election thing too. Like things don't get addressed before, and then when the bubble bursts, people try to control where the mess is gonna be, and it's like, bro, you can't control that. The chips fall where they fall, and the mistakes that were made, and you got to get better for next time.
Yep. And it's covering up your favorite topic, all this alien talk.
Yo, you seen that the New Jersey story, right? With the drones.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that.
So for the last like
Yeah.
5 days or so, there's been drones that are clearly not recreational being spotted in the skies of New Jersey. So much so that one of the senators was saying that they need to do like an emergency order saying that all drone usage is banned for the time being until they figure out what those drones are.
Damn.
If you see the images and stuff of it, to me it doesn't seem like it's like a UFO type thing. It seems more like something man-made that's either being tested or used to do some kind of spying or whatever. But going back to what you were saying, there's been a lot of sightings in London of random little like spherical kind of crafts that have been, according to people out there, just being more and more frequent, coming out more and more in the daytime, being more easily seen by people. And the congressional hearing that happened a couple.
Oh, and they're flying together too in groups.
Yep. There's like a congressional hearing that happened last month in November where they were talking about, by what was the specific word they said? Biologics? I don't know, but basically they said they have some kind of living organism or tissue that they've recovered from a
biopsy.
crash or a spaceship. They didn't really divulge into exactly what the details were, but they confirmed that they have craft and they have biologics.
I believe that.
So, man, kind of like you were saying, man, like there's just so much news coming out covering things, and bro, you don't even know which thread to pull nowadays, dog. And then again, we were talking about with the election, bro. With these kind of stories that are coming out, dog, I'm not surprised that people are like, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out, dog.
For real. And that's why I think like I said, it's been quiet for people. Nobody's complaining anymore about that, and wonder it's because they're worried about other things or because it wasn't a big ass pushback as there was in 2020. But I feel like right now there is a lot of other shit for people to worry about right now. There's plenty.
You know what I think about the Trump thing too, which is kind of funny to me, is I feel like everybody was like saying they wasn't gonna vote for him, but they knew they was. So when he won, the people that voted for him on the low was kind of like, "Oh man, this is crazy! I can't believe this. This is wild, man. What's going on?" And then they go home and they're like skipping on the way to their car and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like people kind of saw through what they felt like was a facade with the whole makeshift candidate that came from the Democratic side. You know what I mean? Regardless of how you feel about Kamala Harris, she wasn't given a proper campaign. She wasn't even given the chance to earn a nomination. You know what I mean? Like, It's just the whole way everything's been going down from both sides. Just the last 12 to 18 years, really. I mean, 12 to 20 years. I mean, it's stuff from always, but just definitely this iteration of what's been going on in the government has definitely been like decade or two in the making. I saw a picture the other day of Elon Musk and RFK and Trump together standing. It was like an old picture of them three, and it was like just 16 years ago, all three of these guys were Democrats. You know what I mean? And it just tells you the way things have progressed in America, where some of the primary figures in the Democratic Party slash some of the big donors all of a sudden are completely flipped to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely interesting, man. I hope I don't know, bro. Like we were saying, like there's so many threads to pull with all this stuff. Like I don't know if I should just hope for some alien help. I don't know if I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going
Maybe
on,
it's the
what's gonna
aliens
go
doing all
on.
this shit.
What'd you say?
So maybe it's the aliens doing all this shit
Maybe you never know,
right in
dog.
front of our faces.
Bro, that alien thing is kind of crazy, bro. How like we're just to that point now where like that kind of news can drop and people are just like, all right, bet,
Yeah.
and then just move on to the next day, dog. Like,
I'm telling you, I watched 3 different Bob Lazar documentaries, and everything he said, I believed it. And that information is being verified and confirmed every day.
yeah, it's
And it's,
crazy because like we've talked about it before, but like I'm real big on that kind of stuff too. So I've watched a lot of the documentaries, listened to a lot of the podcasts, familiar with Bob Lazar, Graham Hancock, even though it's not really the same thing, but it's in the realm. Um, the ranch, Skinwalker Ranch, a lot of the different things that have happened that was always just tinfoil hat stuff that you kind of listened to because it was interesting. Maybe you didn't I mean, at least I'm speaking for me. Like when I listen to it, it's like, man, it's like interesting, and there's a lot of stuff in there where you can kind of be like, dang, you could open your mind to it. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? You're not really, 'cause at least for me, I'm the type of person that it's like, for me, it's like black and white, or I experience it. If not, I'm always gonna be skeptical. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I'm the type of person like I believe in ghosts because I had an experience with a ghost. You know what I'm saying? So like whatever a ghost is, I'm not telling you I know what it is or that I'm believing that it's a specific thing. I just know that I've had that experience. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And with the alien thing is just kind of crazy where they're coming out in an official capacity and saying like, yes, this stuff has happened like in a government setting, and it's like, dang, bro, like, so what the hell's really going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm I think next year's gonna be a big I think we've always been in the information generation, but now, especially with AI, um, it's gonna be hard to tell what's real and what's not. There's gonna be so much more fake information that looks so real. Like I see these AI videos of like a tiger eating an alligator, and it looks so real, and it was generated in like 5 minutes using the AI tool. Um, it's like it's only a matter of time before we start seeing alien footage, and
Bro, all
everybody's
this,
like, "Nope, it's AI." So AI kind of just like um, you know makes everyone doubt that it's real, and it could be 100% real, but because AI exists and it's so prominent now, it discredits anything that's real if it
yeah,
doesn't seem real.
it's crazy, bro. And all this stuff that goes on and all this new information that comes out even makes me get more tinfoil hatty and thinking about it from this point of view, like, bro, what are the chances that we're alive right now with all this stuff happening? Like stuff that has been like basically like legend or just like anecdotal things from the past that people have tried to connect to what they believe is going on but haven't been able to. Like what are the chances that we're in that generation where like that they're confirming that aliens exist and stuff like that? Like it's just it's crazy just to think about like that whole simulation thing
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you think about like, bro, like we're in just such a crazy time period, just our generation. You know what I mean? Like just think about all the advancements and all the things that have happened. And even the thing you're talking about, like the AI thing, like, bro, that AI thing is gonna jump out of our screens quicker than we think. You know what I mean? They're already testing these robots and stuff. With technology, how it moves, bro, 10 years is a lifetime for technology. You know what I mean? Like in 10 years, we don't know what's gonna be going on,
Hmm.
bro. I seen a meme the other day of an old lady with a walker, and it had like a little chat bubble above it, and it was like, "I remember buying the Soldier Boy ringtone for $1 on my sidekick," and then the late, little girl like kind of moving her like, "All right, Grandma, stop talking crazy. Let's bring you back inside." Like, bro, the stuff we gonna be talking about later is not even gonna sound like it's the same world, bro, because just things are going so crazy now, bro. And then it's like the idea of how in the last 100 years or so things have progressed so much faster than it did in the 5,000 years before that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a wild time, bro. It's a super wild time. And going back to what I was saying earlier, it's just crazy how much we discount all the stuff that's going on and all these stories and everything that we're hearing going on around the world and in space and everything. And it's just like, bruh, we're just overloaded with all that information and we just pushing through.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff I seen last week at this conference is a training and simulation conference where all these companies around the world, every service around the world, like I'm talking about like the Royal Navy, the Royal Army, the Saudi Arabian Air Force, Saudi Air Force, like everybody comes to see the top of the line technology to train their soldiers, the war fighters, the people going to be at the front lines. And the stuff I've seen out there, the AI stuff I've seen out there is just ridiculous. It's just so advanced. It's just amazing that this stuff exists out there right now.
Yeah, the way AI has been able to kind of deconstruct and reconstruct things to me is like the part that's kind of the craziest to me. And in like a simple way it does this, but it's just an example of how it's able to do things like this is like how it's able to take a song that's one file
Yeah.
and separate the drums, separate the guitar if it has it, the piano if it has it, the vocals, the background vocals. Like for you to be able to take one file and really, really just analyze it to a level that you can separate it.
Hmm.
Like just imagine you were able to take a painting and just like separate the paints and put them back in the bottles. Like, dog, that's like a crazy thing.
Yeah.
That if you translate that to other genres, other applications, other jobs, like you're saying, military defense. Like if you're applying that principle in AI to other things, bro, it's crazy to think
Hmm.
about, bro. Because a lot of people I feel like are really focused on the creation that it does, but the breakdown and
Yeah, the
recreation that it does to me
manipulation,
is the crazier thing.
the way it manipulates data that already exists. Because yeah, it's not like these songs are being recorded in a way now that allows AI to do it. I'm using songs I got off Napster like 20 years ago, and it's doing it to those songs. Like,
Crazy.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's them formulas are crazy, and it's even just the idea that really what it is just a bulletproof code that kind of becomes a living code at a certain degree, and that's kind of the part where people are scared of it. That's where you got people like Elon Musk so against AI, even though he's such a tech guy, and you know, he himself is work. I mean, he is also working on stuff that could be harmful in the wrong hands. So for him to be scared of AI, how he is, it's definitely something to be alarmed about and keep an eye on.
agree.
But yeah, man, I feel like it was a perfect little pod of like, lighthearted stuff with the music at the beginning and then
Yeah,
all this crazy,
yeah.
United Healthcare CEO and the aliens and the politics and everything. Um, it's been a long and busy year. Hopefully everybody's able to kind of chill as we wind down and really be able to reset for next year. And yeah, bro, a lot of dope stuff on the way. And I hope in real life and in the world it's true as well that a lot of dope stuff is on the way because
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting year, bro. I think it's gonna be like 2020 all over again. Like 2020 changed the way we live. Um, just COVID alone changed so much about people, about interactions, about how we talk to each other, how often we see each other, how things are today. And I feel like next year's gonna be one of those years that changes everything again.
Hey man, if the aliens are listening, we're cool guys. Stay butter.